Okay, so let's finish up with a couple ideas about the electron transport chain. First, juxtaposing oxidative versus substrate level phosphorylation, right? So substrate level phosphorylation is exemplified in many cases. For example, hexokinase, PFK1, phosphoglycerate kinase, pyruvate kinase, PEP carboxykinase, and there are others. These are reactions where we pass a phosphate, not from free phosphate in solution, but from some high energy phosphate bond to another compound. And usually these involve either the consumption or the formation of ATP. But they don't have to. So instead